You step into the elevator. The doors slide shut. And without thinking, you turn around, face forward, and stare at the numbers ticking above the door. So does everyone else. Nobody planned this. Nobody said a word. But somehow, every single person in that box just performed the exact same ritual in the exact same order, without a single instruction. Why? The easy answer is etiquette, manners, something your parents taught you. But the real answer is far stranger. It has nothing to do with politeness. It has everything to do with a survival system that is millions of years older than elevators, older than buildings, older than cities themselves. Your brain was not built for small metal boxes full of strangers. It was built for open plains, dense forests, and small bands of people you knew by name. And when it gets dropped into a space it was never designed for, it starts running an ancient program. One you never chose. One you can't turn off. Let's decode the creation. Before we do, I want you to like or subscribe. Your support makes this video possible. Let's start with your body. Right now, imagine the elevator doors just opened. A stranger steps in and stands closer than you expected. What happens? Your shoulders tighten. Your breathing shifts. You might even feel your heart rate climb, just slightly. You haven't been threatened. Nobody has said anything. And yet, your body is already responding as if something is wrong. This isn't random. In the 1960s, an anthropologist named Edward T. Hall studied how humans use physical space when they interact with each other. He mapped out what he called personal distance zones: intimate space, reserved for people you trust deeply; personal space, for friends and family; social space, for acquaintances and co-workers; and public space, for strangers and crowds. Here's the part that matters. Hall found that when someone enters a zone that doesn't match the relationship you have with them, your nervous system reacts. Not your conscious mind. Your nervous system. A stranger standing at intimate distance doesn't feel neutral. It feels like an alarm. And an elevator does something almost cruel to this system. It forces strangers into intimate distance, then removes every tool you'd normally use to manage that discomfort. You can't step back. You can't walk away. You can't create space by shifting your position in the room. You're sealed in with people your evolutionary programming was never designed to be sealed in with. So what does your brain do instead? It reaches for the only tool left. It removes eye contact. Staring at the floor numbers isn't boredom. It's a released valve. Eye contact, in most primate species, functions as a signal of either connection or challenge. Chimpanzees, gorillas, and countless other social animals use direct, sustained eye contact as a dominant signal, a threat cue. Holding a stranger's gaze in a confined space doesn't read as friendly. It reads as confrontation. So your brain solves the problem the fastest way it knows how. It removes the trigger. It gives everyone somewhere neutral to look. The numbers above the door become a kind of shared escape hatch, a way for an entire elevator full of strangers to silently agree. None of us are a threat to each other. But here's the twist that most people never think about. This system evolved for a world that no longer exists. For nearly all of human history, you didn't encounter strangers the way you do now. Anthropologists estimate that early human bands typically consisted of somewhere between 20 and 50 people. You knew almost everyone you'd ever meet in your entire life. A stranger wasn't a common occurrence. A stranger was an event, possibly a dangerous one. The evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar has spent decades researching the size of human social groups, and his research suggests that our brains are cognitively limited to maintaining meaningful relationships with roughly 150 people. Beyond that number, the people around you stop registering as known individuals and start registering as something closer to background noise, or worse, as unknowns worth monitoring. Now think about how many strangers you pass in a single day. A crowded street, a packed train, a quiet elevator. Your ancestors would have gone their entire lives encountering fewer new people than you encounter before lunch. Your threat detection system was never upgraded for that shift. It's still running the old code. Every unfamiliar face, on some low background level, gets a flicker of the same question your ancestors once asked about every stranger they met. Friend or danger? There's research that makes this even stranger. In the 1960s, a researcher named John Calhoun ran a series of experiments on rodent populations placed into overcrowded enclosures. As density increased, something disturbing happened. The animals didn't just get stressed, their social behavior collapsed. Aggression spiked. Normal bonding behaviors broke down entirely. Calhoun called the result behavioral sink, and while rodents are not humans, his findings sparked decades of research into how crowding itself, independent of any actual threat, can trigger stress responses in social animals. Humans are more adaptable than lab rodents, obviously, but the underlying wiring isn't so different. Crowded, enclosed spaces with unfamiliar people activate stress responses that have almost nothing to do with logic and everything to do with instinct. There's also the work of psychologist Robert Summer, who studied what happens when personal space gets violated in public settings like libraries. He and his students would deliberately sit unnervingly close to strangers who had plenty of other seating available. The results were consistent. People didn't confront the intruder. They didn't say anything at all. They simply left, quietly, quickly, without ever naming the discomfort they felt. That's what's happening in the elevator, too. Nobody says it out loud. Nobody consciously registers. This is proxemic threat activation. You just feel it. A low hum of unease that makes you check your phone, stare at the numbers, or suddenly become very interested in your own shoes. And here's the modern mirror, the part that connects all of this back to your life outside the elevator. You live in a world engineered to put you in constant, forced proximity with strangers. Open-plan offices place you within arm's reach of people you barely know for 8 hours a day. Packed subway cars press you shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of unfamiliar faces every single morning. Even online, social platforms create the illusion of closeness with people who are, biologically speaking, complete strangers to your nervous system, regardless of how many photos of their life you've scrolled past. Your brain didn't get the memo that any of this is safe. It just quietly runs its ancient calculations in the background, all day, every day. Which is part of why modern life can feel exhausting in ways that are hard to name. You're not weak. You're not antisocial. You are a Pleistocene-era nervous system, doing its best in a world built at a scale it was never designed to handle. So the next time you step into an elevator and instinctively turn to face the door, notice what's actually happening. That's not etiquette. That's not awkwardness. That's a survival algorithm, older than language, older than cities, older than the wheel, quietly protecting you from a threat that, statistically, almost never comes. You step into the elevator. The doors slide shut. And for one brief, sealed-off moment, a piece of you that has survived for millions of years is still, quietly, checking if you're safe. This is The Creation Decoded. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. Your subscribing makes this video possible.